Israel, Judah, and Levi. You've probably heard these names before, right? Well, they come from the same family, but their destinies couldn't have been more different. One became a whole nation, another a line of kings, and the third a tribe of priests. So, how did that happen? Let's dive into this incredible story and find out. I mean, you have to wonder, right? A nation, a king, and a priest. How did these very specific jobs get handed out? Was it just the luck of the draw, or was something else going on? That's the big question we're going to unpack right now, tracing these three unique destinies all the way back to their origins. So where does this all kick off? Well, it doesn't start with a big army or a giant kingdom. Nope. It all begins with just one person. This is the absolute foundation of the whole story, how one man's struggle became the identity of an entire nation. So let's meet our guy, Jacob. He's the grandson of the famous Abraham, and his life takes this wild, dramatic turn one night, a night that would end up defining not just him, but literally millions of people who came after him. You know, the book of Genesis tells this absolutely wild story. Jacob ends up in this intense, all-night wrestling match with some kind of divine being. And this was way more than just a physical fight. It was a spiritual showdown for a blessing, and it pushed him right to the edge. So the sun starts coming up, and Jacob, he's injured, he's exhausted, but he just will not let go. He's hung on all night. He's prevailed. And because of that struggle, he's given something that changes everything, a brand new identity. And boom, there it is. Your name shall no longer be Jacob, but Israel. The name Israel literally means he who struggles with God. Now, this wasn't just a new nickname. In the ancient world, getting a new name meant you had a new purpose, a new destiny. And from this one man, Israel, the entire nation, all 12 tribes would come. The struggle literally defined the name, and that name would go on to define a people. Okay, so we have this new nation, Israel, but why? What was their job description, so to speak? Well, according to the scriptures, their purpose was threefold. First, to act as God's witness to the rest of the world. Second, to be the guardians of the Holy Scriptures. And third, to be the family line that would one day bring the Messiah into the world. And I think this is a really important point the text makes. It's super clear about why they were chosen. It wasn't because they were bigger or stronger or just better than everyone else. Not at all. It was all about God's faithfulness, fulfilling a covenant promise he'd made generations before to their ancestor, Abraham. All right, so we've got our nation. Check. But a nation needs leaders, right? A government. This is where the next piece of the puzzle clicks into place. How a very specific line of kings was prophesied to come from within Israel itself. So Jacob has these 12 sons, the heads of the 12 tribes. So who's it gonna be? Who gets to wear the crown and carry the mantle of leadership? Well, the answer actually comes from a prophecy that Jacob himself gives right from his deathbed. Okay, quick vocabulary lesson, because it's super important for what comes next. The word is scepter. You know that fancy ornamental staff that kings and queens hold? That's a scepter. Whenever you see that word in these ancient texts, your brain should immediately think kingship, royal power, the right to rule. And this is the prophecy that changes everything. Jacob declares that the scepter, the royal authority, will belong to his son Judah and to Judah's descendants. This one sentence sets the tribe of Judah apart from all his brothers. They are the tribe destined for royalty. And history shows this prophecy wasn't just some empty words. You can just trace the line. It first comes to pass with the legendary King David, who was from the tribe of Judah, then his son, King Solomon, and their whole dynasty of kings. And much later, the New Testament ties this exact royal lineage to Jesus, even calling him the Lion of the tribe of Judah. So we have the people, and we have the kings. But what about the connection to God, the spiritual side of things? This third, absolutely vital role, the priesthood, wasn't given through a prophecy. It was actually forged in a moment of intense crisis. Yeah, who was going to be in charge of the temple? Who would lead worship, manage the sacrifices, and basically mediate between God and the nation? The story of how this group was chosen is one of the most dramatic moments in the entire book of Exodus. All right, so picture this scene. Moses is up on Mount Sinai, getting the laws straight from God. But down at the bottom of the mountain, the people get antsy, they get scared. And in this colossal failure of faith, they melt down their gold and build a golden calf to worship. They break the very first rules they're being given. So when Moses comes down and sees this, I mean, He is furious. He smashes the tablets, and then he basically draws a line in the sand. He stands at the entrance to the camp and shouts out this challenge that will define their future. Who is on the Lord's side? Come to me.
And who steps up? In this massive test of loyalty, only one group answers the call without hesitation, the sons of Levi. While the other tribes were either part of the problem or just stood by, the Levites showed where their loyalty was. They stood with God.
And for that act of faithfulness, God gives the tribe of Levi a totally unique job. They are set apart for a sacred duty. From then on, they would be the ones in charge of the priesthood, running the temple, and maybe most importantly, teaching God's law to the rest of the nation. So let's just step back for a second. We've got three groups chosen for three totally different reasons. One was based on a covenant promise, one on a prophecy, and one on a courageous act of loyalty. Now let's see how it all fits together like some kind of master plan. This chart really breaks it down nice and simple. You've got Israel, which provides the core identity of the people as a whole. You've got Judah, which provides the government and the royal leadership. And you've got Levi, providing the spiritual leadership and connection to God. Each piece has its own distinct, essential role. But then, if you look at it through the lens of Christian theology, there's another layer to this. The idea is that all three of these separate roles, the representative of the people, the king, and the priest, ultimately come together and find their perfect fulfillment in the one person of Jesus Christ. So if you remember just one thing, let it be this. Each selection has a totally unique origin story. Israel was chosen because of a covenant promise. Judah was chosen because of a specific prophecy, and Levi was chosen because of a decisive act of loyalty. Promise, prophecy, and action. Three different paths to three different callings. And that just leaves us with this one big idea to chew on. You have a people, their leaders, and their spiritual guides all coming from a single family, yet all established for very different reasons and purposes. What does this ancient model for a society tell us about finding our own purpose? Does a healthy community, even today, still need these distinct but interconnected functions to really truly work?